From New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Jessica Savage.
Good evening. The Republican-controlled Senate Budget Committee is now considering a bill to raise taxes by as much as $90 billion over the next 3 years. This in an effort to reduce the budget deficit, which could reach $100 billion by 1984. Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Regan conceded a balanced budget by '84 was possible, but not probable. We have more on the story from Susan Peterson in Washington.
This markup document, obtained by NBC News, is a virtual laundry list of tax increases now being considered by the Senate Budget Committee to close the budget gap. Among its options, setting a $5,000 limitation on home mortgage deductions, repealing deductions for state and local sales and property taxes, and sharply increasing, even doubling, excise taxes. That would mean the federal tax on gasoline would jump from 4 cents a gallon to 8 cents. On cigarettes, from 8 cents a pack to 16 cents. Taxes which haven't been raised since 1959. The proposed taxes on alcohol, which haven't been changed for 30 years, would boost the tax on beer from 18 cents a six-pack to 36 cents. The tax on a gallon of table wine, 17 cents up to 34 cents. Treasury Secretary Donald Regan warned the Budget Committee yesterday that massive tax increases might be counterproductive in a recession, though Budget Director David Stockman favors higher taxes.
So at this point, we're debating ourselves within the administration as to what is the proper course.
Though some Republican senators are behind the tax increases, Senator Jake Garn is not among them.
I reject that as the best solution to go. Why give people a tax cut on the one hand and take part of it away from them with the other? And that's why I think further expenditure reductions are the way to go, and Congress simply must face up to that.
Whatever they call them, revenue enhancements or tax increases, the Republicans may find it impossible to move many of them through Congress. And they still have to persuade the president, who is not enthusiastic about such large-scale increases. Susan Peterson, NBC News, Washington.
And the administration is also having its budget problems in the area of defense. Some congressional leaders are questioning the need to spend more than $20 billion on the B-1 bomber. Meanwhile, the administration today took another step in its commitment to an expanded Navy. Gene Pell reports from Newport News, Virginia.
The Navy's next nuclear-powered carrier will be called the Theodore Roosevelt, named for the president who said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." That theme was echoed by Defense Secretary Weinberger at today's keel-laying ceremony.
And like Theodore Roosevelt, we recognize the threat that America faces, and that this powerful warship will symbolize in inimitable fashion our commitment to have peace with freedom.
The Roosevelt will be one of the biggest sticks in the U.S. arsenal when completed in 1986. Almost 4 football fields long, manned by 6,000 men, equipped with 100 modern warplanes. The Carter administration did not want to build this $1.2 billion ship, but was overruled by the Congress. The Reagan administration does want it, and 2 more like it before the end of the decade as part of its build-up to a 600-ship Navy. As one ship was being started, another was being completed, the SSN Norfolk, a nuclear attack submarine launched by Mrs. Caspar Weinberger, wife of the Defense Secretary. The Norfolk is a $334 million anti-submarine vessel, the 6th of its class built here. 10 more are presently under construction in this yard. They represent, said Weinberger, visible proof that the free world can have faith in American power and confidence the U.S. will make the sacrifices necessary to maintain that power. Gene Pell, NBC News, Newport News, Virginia.
The stalemate over that Soviet sub grounded in Swedish waters continued for the 5th day today. According to Swedish officers, the crew is getting edgy. Phil Bremen reports.
Swedish Marines landed on an island near where the submarine remained beached. Swedish authorities said this exercise was only to break the monotony of guarding the sub. Already, in an attempt to get its sub back, Moscow has sent an apology to Stockholm, regretting that the sub intruded into restricted Swedish waters. And now, in another unusual gesture, Soviet diplomats have granted interviews to Swedish journalists, telling them that it was just a navigational error that caused the problem. Escorted by a Swedish diplomat, the Soviets are waiting to be present when Swedish investigators question the submarine captain. But the Soviet envoys said they had no authority to order the captain to leave the sub, as the Swedes demand. Sweden has detected radio calls between the sub and a Soviet destroyer sitting just outside Swedish waters. But no matter what Moscow says, the Swedes have the sub, and today they wrapped a cable around it to eventually tow it away. The Swedish government has not yet set a deadline, but tonight the foreign minister said he's impatient to settle the matter. Phil Bremen, NBC News, Karlskrona, Sweden.
According to the latest NBC News Associated Press poll, 7 out of every 10 Americans say they favor a new agreement between the United States and the Soviet Union which would limit nuclear weapons. Of the 1,600 polled, 70% say they favor a new agreement limiting nuclear arms. Only 2 out of 10, 21%, say they oppose such an agreement, and 9% are not sure. On the subject of a nuclear war victory, 78%, nearly 8 out of 10 polled, say neither the U.S. nor the Soviets could win such a conflict. 10% believe the U.S. would win, 3% say the Soviets would be the victors, and the remaining 9% are not sure what they think. Soviet President Leonid Brezhnev responded today to President Reagan's recent statement on limited nuclear war. Brezhnev told a West German publication, quote, "Even though there are some who hope nuclear war could be contained on European territory, a limited nuclear war is not possible."
What's on your mind there, fella? New wheels? Washer? College for the kid? Look, your credit union can give you a hand with a loan. You'll pay low interest, and most credit unions provide loan protection insurance from CUNA Mutual, the credit union insurance people, at no direct cost to you. Protection that pays off your loan if you're disabled or not here, to help protect your family. CUNA Mutual and your credit union really want to give you a hand.
We take care of our own.
Think about it. When we tell you Michelin radials last and last.
Well, that's no surprise.
When we tell you Michelin radials save gas.
That's no surprise.
But when we tell you you can get Michelins for about the same price as other leading radials.
Now that's a surprise.
But it's true. We're America's fastest growing tire company. We make the tire you need at a price you can afford. See your Michelin dealer and prices set for your car. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Michelin. We put America on radials.
At Pennsylvania's Graterford Prison, this is the 4th day of a standoff. Today, convicts freed 28 fellow inmates, but continued to hold hostage 6 prison workers and possibly more inmates. Nadine Stewart reports.
State police helicopters flew around Graterford Prison around noon today, while inside 24 inmate hostages were released by the convicts who had been holding them after a botched escape attempt. 3 hostages had escaped earlier. The freed inmates were taken to the prison infirmary to be treated and questioned. But prison officials say they still aren't actually negotiating with the inmates, only trying to keep what they call a dialogue going. A spokesman for the State Bureau of Corrections said not much is known about what is going on in the kitchen.
The only thing that we've been able to see is one weapon through the person that has occasionally come to the door. It appears to be some form of handgun, but we don't know for sure what it is.
Later in the afternoon, a few more hostages were released, but the situation was still called a standoff. Officials say the only demands the convicts have made so far is for blankets, water, heat, and cigarettes. They were given all but the heat. As the siege enters its 4th night, officials still are cautious about predicting when it will end, but they seem to feel time is on their side. Nadine Stewart, NBC News, Graterford Prison.
Fires today spread through Southern California's San Fernando Valley and a Marine Air Base in Orange County. Several homes were destroyed in the affluent residential area of Chatsworth, northeast of Los Angeles. In all, more than 2,000 acres of land were engulfed in flames, which were fanned by 50-mile-an-hour desert winds. Fortunately, only minor injuries reported. At Cape Canaveral, the final countdown has started, and if it all goes well, the Space Shuttle Columbia will lift off come Wednesday morning. Columbia will be carrying a cargo of scientific equipment and a new 2-man crew. More from science correspondent Robert Bazell at the Cape.
On launch pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center today, workmen are carrying out the series of tests and inspections specified in the countdown. Everything is going smoothly. This second flight of the orbiter Columbia will prove that the shuttle is indeed a reusable spaceship. During their 5 days in space, astronauts Joe Engle and Richard Truly will test parts of the shuttle which haven't been tried before. One key part is the robot arm, or remote manipulator system. On future flights, as shown in this animation from the Rockwell Company, the arm will launch satellites into space and recover objects already in orbit. Technicians loaded the arm onto the orbiter while it was being refitted for this second flight. Once in orbit, the astronauts will open the cargo doors and test the arm's different movements. But on this flight, nothing will be launched. A package of scientific instruments was also loaded into the orbiter's cargo bay for this flight. These will conduct 5 different experiments during the mission. The instruments will send back pictures like these, taken from satellites, of geological formations, ocean algae, and other features on the Earth's surface and in the atmosphere. The most important part of this mission, however, is to test further how the Columbia performs in flight, and that will be the main job of the 2 astronauts. The shuttle is scheduled to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and land at Edwards Air Force Base after circling the Earth 83 times. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Cape Canaveral.
The criteria for a compact copier of a different sort. It's here, the Canon NP210. A fixed copy board saves space. 21 letter-size copies a minute saves time. Copies up to ledger size. The Canon NP210 even has its own optional mini sorter. The economical Canon NP210. A compact copier of a different sort. Call toll-free for information or contact your authorized Canon dealer.
On mornings like these, I can't let minor arthritis pain or its stiffness stop me. So I turn to the warming power of Bengay.
Bengay warming power works fast. I rub in Bengay and feel that good old warming power deep, right where it hurts, breaking up pain and its stiffness for hours of relief.
No wonder Bengay's America's #1 selling arthritis rub. It's got warming power.
When arthritis pain grips you, break the grip of pain with Bengay.
People say I have $1 million smile. Well, I should. Sometimes I think I invested that much in it. That's why I chew Freedent. Freedent is the one gum that won't stick to my dental work. And I love that fresh minty taste. Freedent gives me all the chewing pleasure I could ask for in a gum. And where my dental work's concerned, there's nothing tacky about it. With Freedent, the pleasure sticks, but gum won't.
The nation's auto industry has been crippled by a weak U.S. economy. Michigan, as a result, has one of the nation's highest unemployment rates. Voters in Alpena, Michigan, however, turned out in record numbers and approved a new tax. This additional money will reopen Alpena's schools, but the school district's woes are not over, as Jim Cummins reports.
The schools in Alpena, Michigan will reopen Tuesday, but many of the students will have trouble getting to class. The people in this northeast Michigan community finally voted to renew their school taxes on the 4th try, but they rejected an additional tax to run the school buses, pay for the lunch program, sports, and other activities. A bitter disappointment for the students who led the campaign to reopen their schools.
What's school without those extracurricular activities?
It's just going to be a really difficult year in terms of being at school and dealing with all kinds of hassles.
These are the victims of Alpena's tax rebellion. Today at Harry's Haberdashery, salesman Fred Bluck explained why there's a rebellion.
This is the only issue that anybody in this city has a right to vote on as taxes, is the school taxes.
And shoppers at Midway Supermarket explained why they voted the way they did.
They're spending monies, and they don't know how much they got, and they're spending more than they got.
Everybody in Alpena put my kids through school, and I think I should put somebody else's kids through school.
The men at Roy Marshiniak's barbershop believe school taxes will continue to be a divisive issue here.
There are people that aren't talking to each other because difference of opinion, you know.
Quite a few of them.
Quite a few of them. But
Alpena now has enough money to keep its schools open until the end of the school year, but several other school districts here in Michigan are about to run out of money. The state can't afford to bail them out, but it may take them over. The Michigan legislature is considering such a proposal. House Speaker Bobby Krim is sponsoring it.
The last and final step would be to dissolve the district and place it into another district or other districts.
The schools in Taylor, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit, are scheduled to close in 2 weeks. Voters here have rejected a tax increase 4 times. They will vote again in December in what could be their last chance to keep the state from taking over their schools. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Taylor, Michigan.
One other way cities have traditionally raised money is by selling tax-free municipal bonds. But now cities like Buffalo, New York are feeling financially frayed because new all-saver certificates and high interest rates are making it hard to find customers for municipal bonds. More from business correspondent Mike Jensen.
They're happy today and smiling, but they may not be for long, because all is not well in Buffalo. It's not bankrupt and it's not falling apart, but it is getting frayed around the edges. In the auditorium at school number 61, ceiling tiles are falling. At Burgard Vocational High School, the plaster is crumbling, paint is peeling, locker doors are missing. The showers and lavatory have no partitions. The reason? An economic sign of the times, skyrocketing interest rates.
Here's the problem in a nutshell. 2 years ago, cities and states could borrow money by issuing bonds that paid 6 to 7% interest. That's over a 30-year period. Today, those same cities are paying 12% or more to borrow money, double what they paid 2 years ago.
Robert Whalen, Buffalo's controller.
The city has had a dramatic rise in the cost of our short-term borrowing from perhaps $1 million 4 or 5 years ago to close to $4 to $5 million in this current fiscal year. As a result, we've had to diminish the city's service levels. The police and the fire, the streets, the vital city services have been reduced. And secondary, we've had the delay of our ability to finance our capital needs to a period...
One of those capital needs, a decaying water system. This one was built between 1860 and the mid-1920s. There are lots of problems. Same thing with the pumping station. It looks good on the surface, but it's 40 years old. Look downstairs, concrete falling apart, valves rusting. And it's not just a matter of valves. Mayor Jim Griffin says an outmoded city plant makes it hard to attract new business.
We know we have old water lines and old sewer lines and old streets, but we can't encourage industry to come into our cities if we don't have that infrastructure.
No new industry, no new jobs. And there's the Buffalo Zoo, one of the region's main tourist attractions. Its heating plant has 12 separate steam boilers installed in the 1930s. The zoo can't even get spare parts anymore. City officials are afraid if too many boilers start breaking down, the animals will suffer. Some might die, especially the tropical ones, the jaguar, the gorilla.
In addition to their borrowing problems, cities and towns face massive cuts in federal aid. Buffalo is losing $34 million, and many of them have a shrinking tax base, especially those that tied their taxes to federal taxes, which have been cut. It is not an exaggeration to say that all across the country, cities and states are entering a period of severe crisis in financing. Mike Jensen, NBC News, Buffalo.
You might want to take care of your correspondence tonight. It's going to cost more to mail a letter starting tomorrow. The price of a first-class stamp goes from 18 to 20 cents. It will cost 13 cents to send a postcard. This is the first time that U.S. postal rates have jumped twice in 1 year.
When bronchial asthma strikes, take Primatene Mist. Seconds count. Primatene, the fastest type relief known for occasional attacks, restores free breathing in as fast as 15 seconds. Or to keep breathing freely for hours, Primatene tablets. In the lungs, Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes, relaxes bronchial spasms, restores free breathing. Primatene Mist, the fastest type relief known. Primatene tablets contains the asthma reliever doctors recommend most.
Bell System Knowledge brings you a way to manage information more productively. Dimension PBX, a programmable electronic communication system for making critical connections more rapidly, increasing profits, controlling costs, saving energy, creating new information management possibilities for an endless variety of businesses. Dimension PBX from Bell.
Welcome to the gift graveyard, final resting place of useless gifts that were neither needed nor wanted. But there's one gift you'll never find here. It's portable, sturdy, and it lets you work and work on almost anything. It's the Black & Decker Workmate. So what'll it be this year? Another useless gift or a gift he can really use.
The Black & Decker Workmate. It's a gift that works for everyone.
The Polish parliament today unanimously passed a resolution demanding an immediate end to all strikes, which it said were destroying the country. The government also praised Solidarity Union leaders for trying to halt the workers' strikes, but as John Cochran reports from Warsaw, Solidarity leader Lech Wałęsa is worried.
At one point today, Parliament and the Solidarity Union almost seemed like allies. Almost. A non-communist member of Parliament asked for and got a vote of appreciation for Solidarity leaders who have urged strikers to return to work. But that vote of thanks was coupled with a warning. A resolution calling for an immediate halt to strikes. And if that warning is ignored, the communist leader, General Jaruzelski, will ask Parliament to outlaw strikes. That could mean the use of police and troops. And that is what worries Lech Wałęsa. That and the desperate state of Poland's economy. For 2 days now, Wałęsa has urged 100,000 factory workers and farmers in Zielona Góra to resume work. The strike here is the biggest in Poland, but not the most dangerous. It is here in the coal mining region of southern Poland that strikes could destroy what is left of Poland's economy. And workers at 6 mines are threatening to strike on Monday if the government fails to find and prosecute the men responsible for a mysterious gassing incident. 86 people were hospitalized Tuesday night after someone threw poison gas canisters outside a mine. Solidarity immediately began strike action and accused the police of foot-dragging in their investigation. Last night on Polish television, a police official vowed to find the culprits and hinted that Solidarity extremists staged the gassing to create tension and force a strike. The police spokesman was also suspicious that an American TV news team, NBC, was quick to arrive at the scene of the gassing. However, NBC News was in that area because there had been previous trouble there, not because we had any foreknowledge of the gassing. On Thursday, a Solidarity office in another area was vandalized. Windows painted over, anti-union pamphlets posted. But because workers felt the police were making a thorough investigation, there was no strike. The people responsible for the wave of provocations seemed to be trying to force a showdown, possibly a violent one, between the authorities and the union. Moderates in the party and Solidarity have so far managed to prevent this. But the danger persists because the long lines persist, not just for food, but for virtually everything. Poles are in a sullen mood. Unless Solidarity and the Communist Party agree on a way to share economic decisions, workers will have no confidence in the government, and their protests could take a nasty turn in the hard winter months ahead. John Cochran, NBC News, Warsaw.
The American Social Health Association says more doctors are needed in the fight against genital herpes, an incurable sexually transmitted disease which has hit up to 20 million Americans in recent years. The health group has asked private doctors for a national referral roster so that herpes sufferers can know where to turn for help. The Northwestern University Wildcats lost to Wisconsin 52-0 today, and if that was not enough for them, they happened to tie the record for the longest losing streak in college football, 28 in a row. Tonight's the peak of the season for Barbara Janis of Saraville, New Jersey. Ms. Janis is head of a firm called Rent-A-Witch. She and her 13 staff witches say they have no trouble scaring up business year-round, birthdays, luncheons, showers, and other occasions besides Halloween. Rent-A-Witch boasts it hires only wartless witches and says it has convinced a number of skeptics. And for those few who just will not be convinced, quote, well, says Mrs. Janis, I don't like having to turn people into frogs, but
sure do take care of your truck.
I have to. It's my bread and butter.
What about your car?
I take it where I buy my tires. To General. Their mechanics are real pros with just about any service I need to keep my car running right.
Then you'd recommend General Service for my car, too?
Sure. They do a good job for me. They'll do a good job for you.
Sooner or later, you'll own Generals.
Sore throat? Say ah. Chloraseptic. The ah in Chloraseptic is for fast temporary relief of minor sore throat pain.
Chloraseptic.
Doctors and pharmacists have been recommending Chloraseptic for over 20 years. When your throat hurts, say ah. Chloraseptic. Liquid, lozenges, and children's Chloraseptic. Fast relief for sore throat pain.
Ah.
What to do with typewriters that are still good but never designed to grow with your business? Turn one into a lamp? Bronze tube for bookends. Maybe a conversation piece. Better yet, trade them in for the intelligent typewriter from Exxon Office Systems, because it can grow from typewriter to multifunction word processor in 1 hour, right in your office.
Start with a stay with us, Exxon Office Systems.
Finally tonight, theatrical art is often a reflection of reality. And when the main characters in a drama are also part of a real-life drama, it's hard to tell where the theater ends and reality begins. Here's a story from Mike Moss.
The camera.
A young actress at work, Celia Bryn. In this off-Broadway production, she plays Lisa Smith, a crippled girl determined to succeed as a singer. In this rehearsal, she confronts her mother with her plans to attend music school.
Juilliard. But we decided on community college, accounting, something you can do sitting down.
But Mama, I am awful at arithmetic. All I want to do is sing.
Baby, 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 we love you. But you are a very special person.
Keep your head up, baby.
And nobody is going to want to watch such a very special person get up on a stage and sing.
And here, Celia Bryn's life begins to parallel art. She describes the thrill of being on Broadway at 16.
They called me and said, we want you for the show, and I just went crazy. I went bananas. Broadway, you know, get out the tap shoes, though I didn't even tap dance, you know. It's just that feeling, the Great White Way. And there I was, and then I got sick.
Celia Bryn was paralyzed from her waist down after a toxic reaction to medicine. That was 10 years ago. It's taken 10 years to build her strength and learn to walk with canes. She calls this a miraculous recovery. But Celia knows there aren't many parts for a girl who walks with canes. So now she writes songs and plans productions. Her wheelchair is only another theatrical prop.
You just have to have faith in yourself. You really have to believe that you have to think enough of yourself to say, this is not the way I should be. This is not the way Celia Bryn was born. This is not the way Celia Bryn existed for 16 and a half years.
Kissing mine.
Mike Moss, NBC News.
And that's our report tonight. Jane Pauley will be here tomorrow. I'm Jessica Savage from New York. Thank you, and good night from all of us at NBC News.
Tomorrow on Meet the Press, the guest will be Senator Robert Dole.
Tonight, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters trick or treat with Gladys Knight and
Frankenstein.
And it's a Halloween Nashville Palace with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, Johnny Lee and Mickey Gilley, hosted by the Oak Ridge Boys. Then, Fitz and Bones expose police corruption. A great new night of music and comedy tonight on NBC.
Dominion Datsun dealing days are back. Make your choice and make your deal on every Datsun in stock, where the deals are driven home. Dominion Datsun, Arlington, Virginia.
If you could hear what American drivers say about unleaded gasoline, you'd get quite an earful. Americans wanted an unleaded gas that didn't knock and ping, so that's what Gulf created. New Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. One of the highest octane unleaded gasolines you can buy to help get the most performance out of your car. Now, instead of an earful, Americans can get quite a tankful. New Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts.
It is the French, you know, who invented the crepe. So when I heard